You can't make her happy, and the harder you try, the worse it gets. Watching men destroy themselves, trying to satisfy the unsatisfiable for 3,000 years, taught me something that will change how you see relationships forever. You replaying a game designed for you to lose. Flowers wrong color, dinner wrong restaurant, attention too clingy, space too distant. The rules change every time you about to win, and somehow you still think the problem is you not trying hard enough. In the next 12 minutes, I'll show you why you fail, not because you doing it wrong, but because trying is the problem itself. And by the end, you'll understand why stopping is the only thing that works. Comment what country you're watching from. I want to see if this pattern is universal, or if you the exception that proves the rule. Here's the trap. The more you try to make her happy, the more unhappy she becomes. And it's not because you incompetent. It is because the trying itself destroys what you're trying to create. Every time you chase her happiness, you're sending a message you don't realize you're broadcasting. You saying her emotional state is your responsibility, which means it's not hers, which means she has no control, which creates learned helplessness, which generates more unhappiness that you then try to fix, creating more helplessness in a loop that never ends. You brought coffee in bed, thinking it would make her day. It did for exactly 7 minutes, then her brain recalibrated, and now coffee in bed isn't a gift. It is what you're supposed to do, and when you do it is evidence you stopped caring. Standing ovation for weaponizing your own kindness. Here is what nobody tells you. Gestures do and build happiness. They build expectations. Every gift becomes the new baseline. Every romantic moment becomes what you should do. Always every effort raises the bar for what satisfaction requires. You running on a treadmill. That speeds up every time you think you making progress. Adorable, really. You think you're being a good partner. You're actually training her to be perpetually dissatisfied. Every time you try to fix her mood, you're teaching her moods are your job, which means when she is unhappy, it is your fault, which means she can blame you instead of looking inward. Here is the twist. She says she wants you to make her happy, but what she actually needs is to learn to make herself happy. And your constant attempts to do it for her prevent her from developing that skill. You're not helping, you're disabling her. The flowers aren't creating happiness, they're creating dependency. The compliments aren't building confidence, they're making her need validation to feel worthy. You're manufacturing the exact problem you're desperately trying to solve. She was dissatisfied before you. Dissatisfied with you will be dissatisfied after you, because the dissatisfaction isn't about what you do. It is about programming that makes happiness impossible regardless of circumstances. You're trying to fix someone who doesn't want to be fixed, because being broken gives her something to blame. Comment how many years you tried before watching this. Just the number. Most of you are thinking something between 2 and 7. The ones who won't comment are still trying, which means you'll be back in 3 years, wishing you listened today. Here is the biology that explains everything. Women are evolutionarily wired to never be satisfied, because satisfaction in nature meant death. 10,000 years ago, the woman who felt satisfied with her provider stopped scanning for better options. Then winter arrived, famine arrived, predators arrived, and her satisfied genetics died with her children. The woman who was never quite content, who always kept evaluating possibilities, her genes survived. That's hypergamy, the biological drive to constantly assess whether someone better is available. It's not conscious, it's genetic programming, as automatic as breathing. She can't disable it anymore, then you can stop being attracted to youth. So when you finally become successful enough, attractive enough, stable enough to win her, her brain doesn't celebrate, it recalibrates. Your success becomes the new baseline, and she starts scanning for the next level up, because that's what kept her ancestors alive. But here is where this gets worse for you. You chasing a finish line that evolution designed to move every single time you get close. The satisfaction you pursuing is biologically impossible for her to maintain, because maintaining it it would have killed her great-grandmother. Here is the cruel irony that destroys good men. The better you become at providing, the more invisible you become. You transform from exciting catch to reliable option to taken for granted to what else is out there. Not because you changed, but because her brain is hardwired to devalue what it possesses and overvalue what it doesn't. This isn't her being ungrateful, this is her being human. Her brain doing exactly what evolution designed it to do: survive by never settling. The problem is, you're trying to win a game that evolution specifically designed to be unwinnable. Cute watching men realize this after years of effort. Every gesture that makes her happy triggers dopamine in her brain. Feels good, right? Wrong. That spike is temporary, and next time she needs a bigger gesture to achieve the same response. Congratulations, you're creating tolerance in an emotional addict. First month flowers made her smile. 6 months later, flowers are baseline. 1 year later, flowers mean you forgot something. You're not failing to create happiness. You're training her brain to need escalating stimulation. This is hedonic adaptation. Humans return to baseline happiness regardless of positive changes. She gets the promotion happy for 1 week, then baseline. You provide attention satisfied for 2 days, then back to wanting more. Here's what this looks like in real life. You spend 3 months planning the perfect vacation. She's happy for exactly 2 days after returning. Then it's what else, what next, what more. The vacation didn't fail. Her brain just did what evolution designed it to do. Reset to baseline and start scanning for the next dopamine hit. Adorable, really. You cannot win against neuroscience. Her brain will adapt to whatever you provide and recalibrate happiness requirements upward. The goalpost isn't moving. Because you inadequate, it is moving. Because that's how survival-oriented brains function. You're fighting 3 billion years of genetic programming with flowers and dinner dates. Every interaction is a test, and here is the part that breaks men. Passing generates a harder test. You think you're building trust, you're triggering escalation. She tests whether you'll stay. When she is difficult, you stay. Now she tests whether you'll stay. When she is impossible, you pass. Now she tests whether you'll stay. When she is cruel, each past test proves you weak. Enough to tolerate more, not strong enough to matter. This is unconscious sadism. It is unconscious programming. She is not intentionally torturing you. She is searching for your breaking point, because discovering your limit is the only way she feels secure. You're authentic. If you'll tolerate anything, you'll tolerate nothing when it matters. But here is the paradox. She wants you to have boundaries and resents when you don't. But she also tests those boundaries and resents when you enforce them. You can't win because the test isn't about discovering boundaries. It is about generating drama that feels like intensity that she mistakes for love. Women test not because they're evil, but because being wanted by someone with zero standards proves nothing about their worth. They need to know you're capable of walking away to believe that. Staying means something. If you tolerate anything, then tolerating her means nothing. That's why the tests escalate until you break or leave. If you still watching, you just discovered why you've been losing at a rigged game. Subscribe for more truth about games designed to destroy you. Most men will close this and return to trying harder. You still here, which means you might be ready to stop performing. Let's inventory what trying cost you. Your hobbies gone sacrificed for managing her emotions. Your friends distant because she needed constant availability. Your goals postponed because her happiness became your mission. Your identity dissolved because you made her mood your occupation. You stopped being the man she wanted and became the man who exists to regulate her feelings. Congratulations, you nice guide yourself into the friend zone of your own relationship. The version she wanted had boundaries, had priorities, had a life she needed to fit into, had mystery. The version trying to make her happy has no boundaries, agrees with. Everything exists only in her orbit. That is not attractive. That's suffocating. Here is what makes this truly tragic. She says she wants attention, but what generated attraction was that your attention had to be earned. She says she wants priority, but what created desire was that you had priorities she needed to compete with. You're providing exactly what she requests, which is why she's progressively more unhappy. Women don't want what they ask, for they want what they had to work for. Here is the truth that either liberates you or shilelel. Stop trying to make her happy, not as punishment, not as strategy, but as genuine release of responsibility that was never yours. Her happiness is her job. You not her emotional support animal, her therapist, her entertainment, or her reason for existing. You a partner, which means two complete people choosing to share lives, not one person sacrificing themselves attempting to complete another. When you stop trying, one of three outcomes occurs. She panics and doubles down, testing whether you return to trying, or she respects the boundary and begins taking responsibility for herself, or she exits because she needs someone to blame. All three are superior to your current situation. First teaches her you have limits. Second creates actual partnership. Third frees you from someone who needed you to fail. You cannot lose by exiting a game you'll never win. This doesn't mean become cold. It means stop accepting responsibility for moods you didn't create. Stop attempting to solve problems she needs to solve. Stop sacrificing your peace for her temporary satisfaction that resets tomorrow. The moment you stop trying to make her happy is the moment you might actually have a chance at a real relationship. You're standing at a fork with two paths. Path one, continue trying harder, longer, stronger, believing eventually you'll crack the code. Spoiler, you won't. She'll remain dissatisfied, and you'll be exhausted, resentful, unrecognizable. Path two, accept her happiness isn't your mission. Focus on your own fulfillment, your own objectives, your own peace. Be a quality partner without being her emotional servant. Allow her to be responsible for herself, which is the only path to her actually being happy. Most choose path one because path two feels like abandonment, feels selfish. You not abandoning her, you refusing to participate in a dynamic that destroys everyone while pretending it's as love. Here is what nobody tells you. The women who achieve actual happiness are with men who refuse to make their happiness their occupation. Those men remained whole, remained attractive, remained interesting. The women who stay chronically dissatisfied are with men who sacrificed everything, attempting to fill an unfillable void, then wondering why nothing is ever enough. Be the man who walks away from unwinnable games. You arrived wanting me to reveal the secret for making her happy. I won't, because it doesn't exist. You cannot make another human happy. They have to generate it themselves. Your job is being a good partner to someone who takes responsibility for their own state. If she's chronically dissatisfied and blames you, you didn't fail at making her happy. She failed at making herself happy and convinced you it was your responsibility so she could avoid the work required. Stop trying to win unwinnable games. Stop sacrificing yourself for people who will never be satisfied. Stop believing that if you just loved harder, tried longer, gave more, it would finally be sufficient. It won't, because the problem was never you. Her happiness is her responsibility, and until she claims it, she'll remain unhappy, regardless of what you do, who she is with, or what she possesses. You continuing to try just enables her avoidance of the work she needs to do. You not helping her by trying to fix her. You preventing her from ever learning to fix herself. You can give her everything and it will never be enough, not because you inadequate, but because no external source can fill internal emptiness. She needs to matter to herself, and until she does that work, she'll remain unhappy, blaming everyone around her for a void only she can fill. Most of you will ignore everything I said and try harder tomorrow. Few will stop, reclaim yourselves, and understand you can't save people from themselves. Comment what year you started trying. Just the year I'll be watching. I always am. Next time I reveal why you become exactly what you hate, why the person you despised is precisely who you are now, the mirror you've been avoiding. See you then if you're brave enough to look. Zeus out.